Brightness, man. You don't be that guy.
Periscope link live, which means that we are live officially. What's going on, everybody? Here we are, Tuesday, April 30th. We got 15 games. This is going to be interesting. Everybody, I hope you've got your coffee ready. I hope you have everything you're ready that you were about to do, because Laffy and I have 15 games to talk about.
1-5.
Yep, every single team on this slate. This is going to be fun. MLB Strategy is the promo code. We'll get it out of the way quick. 50% off your first month with us. Any package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher, you will get 50% off your first month. We are brought to you by Yahoo Sports. Love Yahoo. Love playing at Yahoo. Couldn't be happier to have them as a presenting sponsor of the Strategy Show, the Deeper Dive, of the Early Bird. Want to go ahead and drop a link into chat. If you want to sign up to play at Yahoo, please use this link. It is very helpful for us. It allows us to continue to grow and continue to, be the site that we're trying to be, I guess. And if you use this link, it won't affect your experience at all, but it allows them to track us. And that's really what we're looking for here. Trying to copy this link feels like it's impossible. I have it, I promise. Copy link address. There we go. Link is in. And you could use the promo code AWESEMO. Get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. What's the acronym?
YSRPs, baby.
Of course it is. 30. 30. If you sign up. We'll touch on some Yahoo pricing as we work our way through. And on Fridays, if you tune in around 12:45 Eastern, Yahoo specific strategy show. The only topic. Yahoo big day on Friday. Josh is not glowing today. I'm not taking that big of a victory lap on Means. I told y'all he sucked. He sucked. I'm over it.
Oh, man.
I need more than 140 mediocre change-ups to change my mind. I don't know about you guys. I'm good, though. I'm good.
I need more than one bad start. He's got 2 good starts and 1 bad start. So, what side can you really consider right?
I'll go with the side of him being bad from 2013 to 2017 as well.
You can do that. I'm just letting you know. You've proved nothing, sir.
I know. I'll take one game victory laps like it's gospel.
You know, it was nice though.
Don't say Jake Odorizzi. None of us saw that coming.
No, of course not, dude. That was ridiculous. That was sad and sickening. No, what was nice is Aguilar getting off the schneid. Listen, man, Miller Park is a beautiful thing. You had mentioned it's way lefty friendly than righty, and you're not wrong, but it's still a really good park for everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And Rocky's pitch is like, oh man, I'm not at Coors, but I still have to pitch here. It was and honestly, Aguilar is like a one-man show. Stacking Milwaukee probably didn't work out all that great for you, but if you had Aguilar, well, that was a whole lot different. 2 home runs, both of them off Freeland. It was because Josh, he'd been having a miserable season, man. A horrible, dreadful campaign.
Yeah, I've been over rostering him for a while now.
Yeah. And how does Kenta Maeda go 73 pitches? What a joke.
Are we really that surprised?
Well, kind of, yeah. He'd thrown 106 already. He threw 98. Like, Roberts hadn't really been limiting him. And then 73 in 5. I don't even think he got immediately pinch hit for. I could be wrong. Like, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of Kenta Maeda. It was just disappointing to see that he went 5 innings. It's possible that, that game was late and I was watching basketball, but they scored 2 in the 6th inning. So it's very possible, because it was 0-0, that Roberts pinch hit him. But 73 pitches, come on, man. He was cruising.
Yeah, I just nothing shocks me with the Dodgers like that.
Of course not.
And I didn't have much. No one really did, to my knowledge. So it was a Jake Odorizzi day. We should have seen that coming.
Yeah, I'm never gonna see that coming.
Certainly not against the Astros. But that's baseball for you, Alrighty.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What do you got?
No, that's the frustrating part as well. You know, team. uh, The Astros hit breaking balls really well. At least a lot of them do, and Odorizzi just had him on a rope. Like it's crazy to me.
Jason Simon says he gave up a leadoff double and they pulled him. He didn't get pinch hit for.
He gave up. Okay, thanks, Jason. So he gave up a leadoff double with 73 pitches, having allowed 0 runs. All right, makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's a frustrating thing. I don't have much of an issue with it.
Me neither. I will say one last thing. Soroka was fantastic. I love seeing what we got from him yesterday. Very good start. And he's been allowed to throw a lot of pitches. Only 81 here, surprising, but 6 1-run, 8 strikeouts. That was a pretty encouraging start from him because he looked pretty expensive.
Yeah, I was not a fan at all yesterday. That went really well. I had way more Padres bats than I had Soroka.
I liked him a lot. I was just hard to pay for him.
Yeah, I don't think he's that kind of guy, generally speaking, but I don't know. I hope that he is better for the Braves. 15 games, you ready?
Man. Yeah, how about them Sixers? Yeah, let's go.
Hey, how about them Sixers?
I mean,
how about James Butler? Did you see this?
It's literally Jimmy.
Yeah,
I saw it. That was great. That was great.
You don't have to do that, man. It's like
crazy defensive.
He means
game.
that as a compliment. You don't have to blow up his spot.
I know.
Hilarious, though.
I don't think he was coming at Brett there. I think he was just telling the reporter, like, listen.
To me, it read Jimmy Butler being like the Jimmy Butler that we all think he is, but that's probably me putting Jimmy Butler in like a weird capsule of person. I like Jimmy Butler.
Dude, Jimmy Butler's been great in Philly, man. Yeah. They love him there. I mean, the actual team, you can tell they love this guy, and he's been a pretty vocal leader.
Look, it's clear that he works his ass off, so you'll always... You good?
Yeah, I'm sick. Did I not mute myself?
Oh, no, you did, but I mean, I still see you like...
Yeah, man, I'm jolting. I got something going on today. Not sure what it is.
You got a 15-game slate going on.
Yeah, it's a perfect day for it.
Yeah. So right off the bat, we need to mention weather. We'll hit it on the 2 games, but Royals, Rays, and Astros, Twins are staring some rain in the face, which is concerning because that is 2 of the 3 best pitchers, in my opinion, on the slate. So we will touch on that, but the scope of this slate is going to be very, very interesting because we have 2 aces going in a weather situation.
Yep. It's a little bit concerning, but we'll keep an eye on it. It can change.
Yep. All right, so here we go. We are ready. I've just finished my crunches, or they're about to finish, so let's do this. Nats and Cardinals. 4.5 run implied total for the Nats, 4.6 for the Cardinals, 52% chance to win for St. Louis. Anibal Sanchez going for the Nats, Adam Wainwright going for the Cards. Neither guy getting any sort of love from an ownership perspective. I don't anticipate having them myself, although Anibal Sanchez is a little bit more in play to me. How do you feel about the pitching here? Anything interesting to you?
Zero interest in either of them, honestly. Wainwright still has the ability once in a while to go, deep into a game and limit runs, but the strikeouts just aren't going to be there. And with Anibal Sanchez, what are you really getting from him? Like, this guy is he's a back of the rotation righty, and that's about all there is to it against a very good St. Louis team that, while they do strike out a decent amount, he's not the guy I want to get the job done. No, these are 2 pitchers. On a 15-gamer, I'm good.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm loading in my crunch right now just so I can give early morning numbers on whatever I'm getting. Anxious to see the pitching spread because it's really deep today. DK is in. Perfect. So I ended up with 5% Anibal Sanchez, 1% Adam Wainwright on DraftKings. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could do a lot worse than that. We do have ownership, by the way, our first iteration of that. So
yeah, both of those guys are 1%ers.
Exactly, and they should be.
Yeah, any little smattering of like cheap guys is obviously just a conduit to different stacks. Speaking of stacks, no ownership really going to the Nats on any site. Kurt Suzuki getting some love on Yahoo as a one-off catcher option, but no one outside of Kurt Suzuki, has exposure higher than 7% for the Nats. Cardinals are getting some love, though, especially these first three guys on FanDuel: Carpenter, Goldschmidt, Paul DeJong, into the teens. I didn't get to this game much at all. Do you have any interest in any bats here?
Not really, and it mostly comes down to, okay, if this were an 8-gamer, I think we could have a different conversation, but
Yeah.
look, there are some pitchers going on tonight's slate that are really not good, and I'm not saying either of these guys are fantastic. No, not at all. Quite the contrary, actually, but I'm also not saying that you've gotta load up on hitters just because, Wainwright and Sanchez are on the mound. I don't okay, let me ask you this. Wainwright and Sanchez are both 2 guys that are not very good. But also, not all that often do they get blown up.
No, I think they're just like average-ish pitchers.
Exactly. Right. I mean, I'd say, yeah, I guess you could probably say around league average. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So on a 15-game slate, it's going to be hard for you to really have a ton of interest in bats against league average pitchers in a league average park.
Yeah, like I understand why Matt Carpenter's getting ownership. He's just constantly underpriced, hits leadoff, gets that lefty-righty matchup. So I like Matt Carpenter in cash, but I don't really need much of anything here.
No, I do like Carpenter, but it's totally a price thing with Carpenter. I don't know if you really need to pay a premium for guys like Juan Soto and Marcell Ozuna and such. Even though, I mean, Ozuna's price point is insane, but
yeah, 100. Give me a break.
It's crazy, right? Carpenter would be the guy. And then Molina, he bats 5th. Catcher's usually a bad position. I can make sense of that. I'm not going to argue you on that, but it's also, there isn't a single batter here that I think is a necessity.
No. I would say Carpenter or cash is the closest thing to that. Otherwise, I'm good.
I'm with you.
Talk about your Phillies. 4.8 run implied total. Oh, actually, I don't know if this line is legit. This line did not exist when I woke up. Do we know if there's a line or an official starter? Is it Tyson Ross?
So right now I do not have a line.
Okay, there is a line, so I can get that, and it is now listed as Tyson Ross officially.
It's definitely Tyson Ross, but I don't have a confirmed line.
Tigers plus 185, Phillies minus 202. The total for the game is
8.5. It's an 8.5 total, but okay. I have the total. I didn't have the. Okay.
So 5 run implied total for the Phillies, 3.6 for the Tigers, 66% chance to win for the Phils. Vince Velasquez going for Philadelphia. Tyson Ross going for the Tigers. Lots of ownership here going to Mr. Velasquez. 29% expected on Yahoo, 11 on FanDuel, 24 on DK. I have none.
The money line is really surprising here. Or I won't even say surprising. You see the money line on this game?
Yeah. I would not have expected the Philadelphia Phillies to be minus 202 on Pinnacle.
Yeah. If you referenced it before, my fault. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild, but Velasquez has been pretty good. Now, there's a couple things here. He's a 2-pitch pitcher. And Gabe Kapler, I'm curious how deep he's even going to let him go.
I only gave him 5 innings, if that matters.
Okay. Well, I think it makes sense because not only do I think Kepler wants to limit him in the sense of third time through the order for a guy like Vince that has 2 pitches could get a little bit sticky. And the fact that he already he averaged one of the highest pitches per inning last year, which makes sense. He does labor a lot. He's been good over his last 2 starts. One of them came at Coors Field. You give him credit for that. I do for sure. But I'm also not expecting ever 7 innings from Vince Velasquez.
No, he's averaged 5 innings per start over the last calendar year.
Right.
141 innings and 29 starts.
No, I think you're absolutely right to project him at 5. And my guess is that he will be over projected in a lot of places because he's projected for more than 5 innings just because he's a starter against Detroit. But it's very hard to do that. I don't. it's hard to consider, like you just said, he's averaging 5 innings over the last however long.
Yeah, and like he made a lot of starts. This isn't like he has as big of a sample of starting games as most people do. 29 in a calendar, like in the last rolling 365 days. That's a lot.
Yeah,
like it's not like, oh, he had 7.
right, exactly.
Like we're pretty established that this is like a 5-inning guy, 6 at best.
Exactly. And by the way, I say a 3-pitch pitch or 2-pitch pitcher. He has been using the curveball a little bit, but like he is, mostly. I guess I'll give him 3 pitches, but really he throws that fastball so much, like almost 70% of the time. He throws it a ton. He's been leaning on it. And here's the good thing. Here, if you're playing Vince Velasquez, here's the positive. The pitch has been excellent over his last 2 games. His fastball has been spectacular. Obviously, never want to say unhittable with a 4-seamer, but it's been very, very good. And it makes, when your fastball, Josh, is working that well, it makes it so your slider and curveball don't have to be as good.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen from him, and it's got him through 2 solid starts. I think Velasquez is a very fine option, but paying almost $9K on DraftKings for him is almost unthinkable to me, given that his price, or given that I'm projecting him not to go past 5 innings.
I think it's absolute insanity.
He should be
24% owned.
He should be mid 7K. It would be a reasonable price.
So from Julio Teheran up, from 8K up, Vince Velasquez grades out worst on a dollar for dollar of every single one of those guys. So to see him at 24% ownership makes me happy personally, because I think that's very overowned. I don't anticipate having any of him today.
If he, like I said, if he was 7,500, I would have a lot. I can tell you right now.
If he was 7,500, what would he be owned if he's already 24?
Right, but I'd still
50%.
I mean, just forget about ownership for a second. I'm just talking in terms of the value that somebody provides at almost 9K with that amount of innings pitched. That's tough, dude. He has a 9.9% swinging strike rate this year. I think there's this misconception that he's been a crazy strikeout pitcher. That hasn't been the case for a little while now, man.
I haven't projected for 5.5.
Right, and I think that's perfectly fine. He's still probably, he's still a K per inning guy. He is. That's what he is.
Yeah.
But again, if you're projecting him for 5 innings, you're going to be hard pressed to project him for much more than 5 strikeouts, right?
5.5 and 5 works for me.
Right. Right. It's tough here. That's too much. It's too much, and I don't even think we need to go much further with it. 82 on FanDuel on a 1-pitcher site. It's a lot.
Yeah.
$40 on Yahoo. That's not crazy. It's not crazy given the prices of a couple guys around him, but it's still not what I would love to see.
No, he's like my 9th or 10th best pitcher, dollar for dollar. I can't. There's no reason to get to him. There are higher upside arms above him and better value arms below him. He's in a terrible spot. I mean, it's a good matchup, but he's in a bad price tier.
We got him at 11% on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's the only spot I got 1% of him there. That's the only exposure I have.
29% on Yahoo.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at least he's a lot cheaper than some of these higher price guys like Cole like Bauer. And then on DraftKings, 24%, the third highest price pitcher on the board. So third highest projected owned pitcher.
I'm steering clear of that. I don't think we have to talk about Tyson Ross, right?
Nope. Talk about the Philly bats.
Yeah, I got a little bit here. I'm slightly under the field on FanDuel, slightly over the field on DK. So McCutchen grades out well. Bryce Harper, obviously. Rhys Hoskins. Nick Williams is kind of chalky on FanDuel. I don't expect that to hold all that well, but he's only 2,300 and he's got power potential. I like getting to the Phillies. I think they're a really good accompaniment to another primary stack.
Yeah, that's fair. It's going to be pretty warm too. 74 degrees at first pitch. I like seeing that.
Ooh.
But yeah, you
go out, get a cheesesteak, go catch the game.
They just put a Shake Shack at Citizens Bank Park. When it's warm there, though, those balls are jumping out.
Yeah, I mean, big time. Like Philly is a park for power. Be
Dude,
clear.
no question.
106 park factor last year for lefties, 114 for righties. That is the highest.
The highest above Coors Field.
Yep.
Above Coors Field. So yeah, as far as righties and lefties go, it was top 5 for lefties and top for righties.
Yeah.
Last season. Exactly. And the warmer it gets, the more you're going to see balls flying out of this park. Here's the thing. Dude, Tyson Ross, his fastball is sitting under 90 miles per hour this year.
He's bad.
Yeah, it's under 90 miles per hour. And what's really interesting about him is this is a guy who, as you know, leaned heavily on his slider. He was and still is very bad at holding runners, by the way. So keep that in mind if you're targeting any type of speed here on the base paths for the Phillies. Tyson Ross does not hold runners well at all. His slider used to just come down. He's throwing a ton of the cutter, but it's really not making a difference because his fastball has just been really, really rough this year. And I expect it, Josh, actually to get hit harder going forward than it already has. I actually think he's gotten a little bit lucky, which might sound weird, but I actually think Tyson Ross has been luckier. He has a 279 BABIP, a 66% strand rate, or 66.7. That's fine, but a 279 BABIP for a guy that has really flashed nothing and has almost 4 walks per 9, less than 7 Ks per 9. I think he could get in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, that's way more time than anyone should have ever spent explaining Tyson Ross. How do you feel about the actual Phillies bats?
Well, that was my way of saying I love them, so okay. I don't even have to talk about the Phillies bat.
Okay. That's an interesting way to go about it.
I mean, why not? I could talk about the Phillies bats all day, or I could tell you why I like all of the Phillies bats in one fell swoop.
I thought you were just really anti Tyson Ross.
No, actually, at the beginning of the season, I thought he was going to be an interesting pitcher until I realized that he could not throw 90 miles per hour.
Yeah, he's second from the bottom for me. So what do you, anybody specifically standing out for you from the Phils?
The whole team. Like, okay. I mean, first of all, what's their run total?
5 is what I have.
It's 5?
Yeah. It's
going to be 74, 75 degrees. No, I like all of them. And Gene Segura being back in the lineup. Obviously if like Sean Rodriguez or whoever is at the bottom of the order, then not super enticed by them. But yes, I think this whole offense, this whole lineup is in a very good spot against Tyson Ross, who's, as I just mentioned, not very good and giving up a lot of hard contact.
Team I have the most here, the Detroit Tigers. No ownership whatsoever going to these guys, and I'm stoked about it. I got a lot of the top: Candelario, Castellanos, Cabrera. I have 8% aggregate ownership on FanDuel, 9 on DK. It's 8 times the field on FanDuel and 3 times the field on DraftKings. I love getting to the Tigers. Thank you very much, Vince Velasquez, and your ridiculous ownership today.
Hey, I like it. You want to talk about strand rates? Velasquez has a 96% strand rate this year. Probably not sustainable.
Yeah, I think that's going to go down a bit.
Yeah, you think? He's also had a history of allowing home runs at home once it warms up. He allowed 16 home runs last year, and 11 of them came at home. He gives up a lot of power at home when he's struggling. I don't think you're wrong at all to say, hey, no one's really targeting them. Everyone's targeting an overpriced Velasquez. The Phillies bullpen, mind you, has also struggled a lot this year. You're probably getting 4 innings from the Phillies bullpen too.
Yeah.
I like that, Josh. To me, it makes sense. And the Phillies bats are getting good conditions, good hitting conditions. Well, so are the Tigers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Castellanos and Cabrera here. I would love Candelario more if Vince Velasquez was left-handed, but then it would change the slate a little bit. I'm going to get to a lot of the Tigers. They are super cheap, and they are incredibly appealing from a leverage perspective. So Tigers were going to be one of my favorite teams today, even at a 3.6 run total.
It's funny that Velasquez Most of the Phillies pitching staff struggled to hold runners last year, but Velasquez never really has. And now you have Real Muto behind the plate, who actually does make a difference. Not the greatest base stealing spot, but uh, I have nothing really to add on. I'm with you. It's a good spot at very low ownership, and it's crazy to me that Velasquez is getting that much ownership.
I cannot believe he's getting to 24%.
If he was 7,500, I would totally understand it. Detroit strikes out a lot.
Yeah.
Velasquez has looked good. He can get strikeouts, but at that price, I won't even waste any more time talking about it. He's just too expensive.
Agreed.
He's going complete game tonight for sure.
Let's hope not. Marlins and Indians. Marlins 2.9 run implied total. Indians 4.1. 65% chance to win for the Indians. Sandy Alcantara going for Miami. Trevor Bauer going for Cleveland. Bauer 36% owned on Yahoo, 26 on FanDuel, 33 on DK. I have exposure to Bauer. I am slightly under the field. He's my third favorite of the Snell, Cole, Bauer trio, but Snell and Cole might not play, and Bauer looks fine. So this will shake out differently. Ultimately, I think he's in a great spot. I think the Marlins bats are terrible. And while it's not like a crazy good strikeout matchup, it's just a hair above average. That's really all of the window that Trevor Bauer needs. So no problem getting to Bauer, and I anticipate getting more of him as we get closer to lock if we lose one of those studs.
Of the high-priced guys, Bauer is my number one today. I absolutely love him today. I love Trevor Bauer in this spot. Like, I can't find a single thing about Bauer that I don't like here. You know, take a couple of things into consideration. We just saw Trevor Bauer last time out hold the Astros to one solo shot across 8 innings. He only struck out 3, which was something you and I had concerns about. We talked about how bad of a strikeout matchup that was, right?
Yeah, you can be good and not be a good fantasy play in the
Correct.
same day. It's not an indictment on Trevor Bauer or his talent. Like, I'm trying to win a tournament here, not win the fucking game.
Exactly. I think Bauer has got the upside in a spot like this is pretty unfathomable.
Yeah.
Miami is so bad. They on the season alone. Now we're starting to get a bit of a sample, so I don't mind referencing it, although I'd like more. Marlins are dead last in ISO versus righties. The Tigers are 29th with a 134 ISO, okay? Marlins are at 112. That's how far behind everyone else they are in terms of power. They have been that bad, dreadful. And while you say, it isn't the greatest strikeout matchup, no, but they are striking out at a higher clip this year. There are a few guys in this lineup that will strike out and really have no business even being in a lineup with the way that they've played. One of them being Lewis Brinson. He is an instant strikeout when it comes to facing Trevor Bauer.
So is Jorge Alfaro.
So Jorge Alfaro has been an instant strikeout. I absolutely love this. And, if that's not enough, you're getting this at Marlins Park. So he even gets an upgrade. Bauer gets an upgrade there. And I don't think I think he's actually underpriced with respect to the matchup outside of Yahoo. That's a pretty wild price point. I think he might be the first guy I've seen above 60 all year, but DraftKings and FanDuel, to me, I am perfectly fine paying that. I am 100% okay with it.
Yep. I have him. I got 17% on FanDuel, 27% on DraftKings. It's because I've made no adjustments to Snell or Cole or anything,
right,
or Jacob Junis, who we'll get to. So, exposure's kind of spread out. Nobody's going crazy. But if you drop those two guys, I'm going to have a ton of Bauer. It's a fantastic spot. And it feels like I love him in cash. This feels like a really low risk spot.
Big time.
I mean, cue up the Marlins beating here, but 2.9 run implied total. They're the only team below 3. There's no real hitters in this lineup anywhere. It would be really difficult for me to have a single negative thing to say about Trevor Bauer.
I agree. I'll just add one more thing. You're going to get a lot of righties in this lineup for the Marlins.
Yeah.
That only makes Trevor Bauer more appealing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? you look at his splits versus lefties and righties over the past couple of years, you can take it back, take it back to the start of 2017. Um, he's striking righties out at 31% over the past 2+ seasons. And now he's going to face the likes of Prado, not to say he's a big K guy, but Anderson, Castro, Rojas, Galloway, Wallach, or Alfaro, or Brinson. I mean, all of these guys, none of them are imposing whatsoever. I just love this spot for him.
Yeah, I hear you. I assume we're both not going to Alcantara.
No, I'm not.
9% ownership on DraftKings, so there's 9% of the people out there covering most of the rake.
Yeah, my guess is because he's very cheap.
Yeah.
And he's had a couple, mediocres. He had one really good start, but no, I'm especially not with Lindor back in the lineup. It just makes this team so much less appealing for a fantasy matchup.
I clearly have no interest in Marlins bats. I am a couple multiples over the field on Indians bats, which I'm pretty happy about. On DK, Lindor 4%, Jose Ramirez at 4%, Leonis Martin, who just can't stop hitting home runs, is at 4%. So I'm gonna get to some Indian stacks, especially if they're like completely unowned, and if Alcantara continues to have mild ownership, that will help pull the Indians a little bit higher. So I'll always bet on the talent at the top of the Indians order.
I have no issues with it. I mean, obviously price comes into play for me, and you're still getting Lindor and Ramirez underpriced. Yeah. So sometimes that's all. You and I talked about this. I think it was last week. Lindor went and had 2 home runs. It was against McHugh. Both of us said, look, we think McHugh is an above average pitcher. But when you're getting Lindor at a price like this at a weak shortstop position, just play the talent here. Play the talent and move on. When you're getting a good price on guys like Lindor and Ramirez, I'm not looking at this game and saying, oh man, Marlins Park, hard to hit home runs, can't play them. No, quite the contrary.
Yeah, I mean, it is for sure.
Yeah, but it's not impossible. They're still major league hitters.
Yeah, and
they're going to have
this projected lineup has 7 straight lefties to start.
Dude, Jose Ramirez is $12 on Yahoo. Think about that. He's $12 on Yahoo.
Yeah, I assume he is one of, if not the best plays on Yahoo today. Let me sort my table quick.
He is the same price as Kelvin Gutierrez.
Oh, he's way lower than I would have expected. He's
$12.
16th for me because we have, Odor is $8, and
right. That's right.
Even someone like, I'm not the biggest Ben Zobrist fan in the world, but he's leading off in projected lineups, and that's massive for his spot. So 4.6 run total.
Give me Ramirez any day.
Yeah. Look, like I said, he was 12th. That's 12th out of every hitter is still really
out of
really
every
high.
hitter.
Yeah. The whole slate he ranked 12th dollar for dollar. So
you weren't referencing third baseman. That's right. But you think about it, like I get it. Ramirez has not been very good this year, but let's not act like he doesn't have 2 home run upside with 2 stolen base upside. Of the few guys in the league that could hit a cycle and hit for the cycle, and you'd be like, oh, nice. Instead of, oh my God, he hit for the cycle. Jose Ramirez is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that dude. Great hitter, doesn't strike out, power.
Bats from both sides of the plate. Clearly much better from one side, but
dude looks crazy too. He's got that like Albert Bell in his eyes.
Yeah, he does. $12 though, Josh.
That's preposterous. Mets and Reds, 3.8 run implied total for the Mets, 4.2 for the Reds, 54% chance to win for Cincinnati, who, man, oh man, they were my number 1 stack yesterday on DraftKings, and there was a split second where I was like, I'm going to win everything today. Eugenio Suarez hit a ball to the warning track with them loaded in the first, and they were already winning, and I was just like, oh my God. When off the bat, I was like, oh, Grand Slam!
What'd they finish with, like 4 runs?
They scored 4 in the first, but if that ball leaves the yard, they probably yank Wheeler immediately, which ultimately wouldn't have mattered, but he's probably gone. They've got a ton of runs on the board. I have like 7 times the field of Eugenio Suarez on a grand slam.
What was your purpose for going so? Now, let me to be clear. I had no interest in Wheeler, but only not because I think the Reds are amazing, but because they're such a difficult team to strike out in bunches.
Yeah.
So Wheeler seemed a little bit off limits, but I was not high on the bats. What was your what was your reasoning there?
Leverage is basically the only answer. They didn't grade out well for me on like a dollar for dollar basis, but after running my crunches and sorting, I ended up with very little Wheeler. And
Oh yeah, so why not? I got you.
at that point,
Leverage and it's baseball.
yeah.
So yeah,
So it naturally pulled up the Reds as primary stacks.
makes sense.
Wheeler just didn't grade out well enough individually to make the leverage not that interesting. But yeah, man, right off the bat, like even the commentators thought it was gone. He got all of it. He hit it like, warning track left center. It's a real tough spot to hit a ball out.
Yeah.
I wanted it bad. Anyway, Jason Vargas going for the Mets. Luis Castillo going for the Reds. I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in Jason Vargas. Luis Castillo is $50 on Yahoo, $10K on FanDuel, 10-1 on DK.
Crazy.
Look, I like Luis Castillo. If this were like an 8-game slate, he might look okay in this spot because he's got a lot of strikeout stuff, and there's some swing and miss in this Mets lineup, but there are way too many dudes that are better than him today. I cannot justify paying any of those price tags. I got 1% on FanDuel. That's it.
It's crazy that his prices come up this high so fast, and I say it in a complimentary light. Like he has been that good this season to where I can see why he's expensive.
Yeah.
15% swinging strike rate against lefties and against righties. He's got an expected ISO below 100 against both-handed hitters. So everything you're seeing here, like he's been very impressive. Yeah. And I take nothing away from Castillo. He's allowed 1 home run all season long. Dude, the only thing is, are you going to pay this much for Castillo? When against the Mets team that, look, they're not great, but they can run some quality lefties out there. There's some good bats in this lineup. Are you going to run him out there when you have Trevor Bauer against Miami, you have Blake Snell, Garrett Cole? It's tough now that he's pretty similarly priced to all of them to make the argument for him being the better play, unless you're trying to get leverage. But I don't know that you need to do it with Castillo on a 15-game slate.
No, not at all. I can't imagine it. I have him grading out very similarly to Herman Marquez, very similarly to Walker Buehler. These are guys that are in his same salary tier. I don't know. There's, like you said, there's Bauer, Snell, and Cole, and those guys are on very different levels than the rest of the guys that I just named. They're just on a tier above. Now, if we lose 2 of those 3 guys, maybe Castillo looks slightly more appealing, but I would probably just pay less if I had to guess. Don't get me wrong, grades out really nicely. It's not going to be a spot where I really want to be, and that doesn't. And I don't have much interest in the Mets bats either, because I do think Castillo is good.
He's very good. He's very.
I have a little bit of Reds. That's basically it.
Look, a month or 2 down the road, we could be having the same conversation and lumping him into the same category as these guys. Luis Castillo has really good stuff. It's just it hadn't all come together. Remember 2 years ago, we were all super excited about him, and then last year he was a colossal letdown.
Yeah,
he was a huge letdown last year. But he does have a decent arsenal. He throws 4 different pitches, and he gets a lot of misses on that changeup and the slider. Maybe we'll be saying this a month or 2 from now, but right now, at a similar price, you can't get me to put him above Bauer or Snell. That's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, same page.
And the Mets aren't a terrible team. Like, yeah,
No.
Sure, this lineup isn't spectacular, but it's not just they're not going to roll over and die.
No, I mean, I have them projected for a 111 weighted runs created plus. Like, that's probably one of the better numbers of this entire slate. That's a testament to how good Luis Castillo is. But
right,
this is like a similar version of what we talked about for Bauer in his last start. Like, it's not the best strikeout matchup in the world, and the team is good, and he's priced at a point where, like, I don't need to force this. There are better things out there.
Castillo against the Mets or Bauer against Miami.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Or Blake Snell against the Royals.
Right.
Like,
right. Snell against the Royals, who strike out a lot against lefties.
Yeah, Cole against the Twins, and definitely not having Astudillo in the lineup. Like, that's super helpful.
Yep.
Any Reds bats that stand out for you? I just have like a solid amount of all of them across the board, so I don't really have anybody that I desperately want to touch on, but they're pretty affordable.
Dude, I'm having trouble buying into Vargas. Like, he's now gone 8 2/3 innings with an earned run allowed in each of those starts. So 2 total earned runs there. I mean, you can't convince me of this. You just can't. Like, yes, he has a pretty good changeup. I understand that. Fine. All right, whatever. But he's Jason Vargas. If you just, I'm not going to break him down. I have no interest in it. But if you dig into his stuff, like Jason Vargas is going to get hit, and he's going to give up some home runs. I mean,
I picture Jason Vargas like the pitcher from Major League. He's got like Vagisil on his hip and like all sorts of stuff on underneath the brim of his hat, just like getting by on like every trick that he can figure out.
Right. But like, can we talk about this for a second? Suarez and Peraza and Votto, these guys are really cheap.
Yeah.
Most of them with a righty-lefty matchup against a guy in Vargas who literally throws 85 miles per hour. I mean, I don't know. Yasiel Puig, 3,800.
How many times is Jason Vargas going to walk Joey Votto today?
Probably every time he faces him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Votto would be the least appealing, but man, Suarez and Peraza and Puig, I think you make like a 3-4 man stack of these Reds bats. And as we know, when Vargas is off, when Vargas is not hitting his spots, everything is leaving the park.
Yeah. This one's not going to go that long if it's really bad. If Votto could go 0 for 0 today with 4 walks and 4 runs scored.
It's very possible.
So yeah, I like getting to the Reds. Nothing too crazy, but I want to have exposure to these guys because I think Vargas is garbage.
Yep. Well, and also the price points. They're so easy to get.
Yeah. Leading off, like, look, we are talking about Joey Votto, a guy that is not going to have much of a problem taking pitches. He's still 3,900 and leading off against Jason Vargas. I don't care if they're lefty. Makes no difference to me whatsoever because it's Jason Vargas.
Peraza might lead off.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. And Suarez looks really good in this spot.
Oh, dude, spectacular.
Puig too. I can see Puig breaking off a Vargas hanging something and hitting it a hell of a long way.
By the way, keep an eye on Peraza because if he is batting top of the order, he's $8 on Yahoo.
Yeah.
You're getting him pretty cheap everywhere. And I think you could do a lot worse than him. I mean, not exactly a premier power bat, but probably doesn't need to be in a spot like this. So I definitely have interest in these Reds righties.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Last time they faced a lefty, Peraza did lead off.
Okay, good to know.
Votto wasn't in the lineup though, so we'll see. But yeah, Peraza, then Suarez, Puig, Kemp, Casali. There's nice ways to get exposure to these Reds bats for sure.
We are on the same page there. From Reds to Red Sox. 5.2 implied total for the Red Sox. 4.3 for the A's. It's a 59% chance to win for Boston. Rick Porcello. Yesterday's star Rick Porcello going for Boston. Aaron Brooks going for the A's. Zero interest whatsoever in Aaron Brooks. I got to a very small amount of Porcello. Not a guy that I really want to advocate for or anything. 8,200 I think is a fine price. 6,700 on FanDuel I think is a fine price in a spot where, a win is more likely, a quality start is on the table for him. So it looks interesting on FanDuel, but there's just so much high-end pitching that I can't get more than like a handful of him. I don't have any strong takes. It's just like he's a guy and it's not that bad because, I don't know, reasons.
What are your reasons?
Because he plays today and he's like a decent sized favorite against what should be like a sizable amount of right-handed bats or switch hitters that aren't good against righties. Robbie Grossman is worse against righties, switch hitter. Morales is worse against righties, switch hitter. Profar is
all right.
8th. So like he's fine, but like I got 7% on DraftKings. I'll get like 4 to 7 or something when it gets there, and I won't even pay attention to it. He's just complete, like, he's innocuous.
I just think Rick Porcello at 8,200 against a good Oakland team is very pricey. 31 on Yahoo, by the way, is pretty like that.
Here's the thing. I'd rather have him than Vince Velasquez at 24% ownership on this slate. If I'm playing in a large field GPP.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
But no, I have no legitimate real interest. He's like the 12th best guy of the day.
I just don't like the one difference between Porcello and Velasquez, and we agree on Velasquez almost entirely. But the one difference is, like, if Velasquez did have 9 strikeouts, I wouldn't be surprised. If Porcello did, I'd be shocked. So
yeah, it's just that Velasquez is getting owned like we should expect that.
Right. Yeah. I want nothing to do with pitching from this game. Personally.
Yeah, I don't. I stand more with you. Like, Porcello is just a function of 150 lineups.
I hear you.
I wouldn't talk anybody into it or out of it. No interest in Brooks. I don't really have much interest in this game. Like, I didn't get to a ton of Red Sox bats, but I got to some. I'm essentially just with the field. Benintendi bets Moreland JD. Like, I don't have anything to say other than they're just good hitters. If I get to Boston, I'm happy. I like the run total. I don't know. They're expensive, and 3 of the 4 main guys you need are outfielders, and that makes it really hard to stack.
Yeah. So yesterday, when in the deep dive, I had mentioned, and you and I talked about this just a little while ago. Play the talent when it's there and it's underpriced. I still think, given the price tags of guys around him, that Bogarts is being underpriced in a lot of spots. Yesterday, you got exactly what you were looking for from him. I have no problem running Bogarts back out there today. When this guy's healthy, he's very good. He hits righties really well. He's at Fenway Park. So, guys like Bogarts, I'm totally not opposed to it. Kind of like what you're saying. These are all talented bats. This is a team that, when you talk about being able to score runs in bunches, they can do it. So, yeah, Betts, Martinez, Bogarts, of course. Chavez has been good. He's expensive, but he's been phenomenal. I'm never opposed to this Red Sox team, especially against the guy in Brooks that really has not shown me that he's going to go out there and light them up. No. Also, he's allowed he's allowed 6 home runs over his last 4 starts. I like it for Boston.
Yeah, I thought that I would like them more. I think that I'm just going to have like a lot of different combinations of these guys in 2-mans or 3-mans or one-offs, but I don't get the sense that I'm going to be stacking them up in full.
Fair enough.
And then for Oakland, I basically don't have anything. Couple percentage points of some of the Oakland guys. I have a little bit of interest, but there's just better spots out there today.
Yeah, I'm certainly not a Porcello guy. You know that. Yeah. But that's because I just don't think he has any upside. I don't think he has a ceiling from a strikeout standpoint, Yeah. But it doesn't mean that I like targeting against him either. I'm not really big on Oakland bats when we have 15 games.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say for this one.
No.
Dropping down to the Braves. 4.3 run implied total for the Braves, 4.2 for the Padres. Due to rounding, this one's actually like 50-50. Julio Teheran going for Atlanta. Chris Paddock going for the Padres. Teheran getting some love. 20% ownership on Yahoo, 17% on DK. No ownership at all going to Paddock, who I think is just kind of overpriced. I'm very interested in him. I think he's really good. I just don't think the price tag is there quite yet. How do you feel about Teheran being close to 20% owned on DraftKings?
That's a lot of ownership, man. Now, the fact that he's going to go up against what should be a good amount of righties, it benefits him. His best pitch is going to function way better against righties, always has, his slider. And the Padres are going to run out, Reyes, Machado, Renfroe, Kinsler, Hedges, Margot.
Tatis, you're going to have probably 29% K rate in Steamer.
Yeah. You're going to have 6 righties, 5 righties,
I've
Probably
got 7 right now in my projected lineup, but we'll see where we end up.
you have 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only Hosmer as the lefty in the lineup.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. They led off with Greg Garcia yesterday.
Which is
Fun. What'd you
fun.
say?
Which is fun.
Yeah, I mean, if Garcia's making another lefty, I'm really not concerned about that.
No.
So, he has started 2 games in a row. But look, we know what Julio Teheran is,
Yes,
right?
we do.
It's kind of the easiest way to really discuss it. We know what he is. He is missing a lot of bats this year. He's got a 15% swinging strike rate against righties, which is highly impressive. I don't think it's crazy, but anytime Julio Teheran is going to be one of the more popular pitchers on a big slate, you can pretty much count me out. I just think there are better ways to go here. And if I would like Teheran if he was not getting any ownership, that would make sense, but
Yeah.
not at 20%.
And that's another part of the reason why I don't have much of an issue getting to Rick Porcello in a GPP, because he's sandwiched between Velasquez at 24 and Teheran at 17. If he's really one, okay, cool. You roll out there, get 20, and call it a day.
Yeah.
In the shock of all shocks, I did not get to any Braves bats.
I really liked them yesterday because it was a lefty.
Yeah. I wish that I would, but I'm not. I am, however, doubled up on the Padres for the 10th straight day in a row. And in this one, I certainly have no problem with it whatsoever. If Teheran's going to be 15 to 20% owned, I'm going to get to the Padres for 2 reasons. 1, they grade out efficiently on their own. And then 2, the leverage of getting against Teheran's ownership is propelling them. So I got to 10% aggregate ownership on the Padres right now on DraftKings and FanDuel, which is my highest mark of any team on the slate. So the Padres, as of right now, are my favorite stack of the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're cheap. They check off all of the positional boxes that you need in a stack at the top of the order. On DK, it's short, third, potentially 2 outfielders, although you also get the first base eligibility with Will Myers. Getting Manny Machado as a third baseman for 4K, I'm cool with that. And then you get the added bonus of being on the opposite side of some ownership on a pitcher that only exists because of his price tag. If there were no prices, Julio Teheran's probably going to be pretty low on the list of guys that you're looking to get today. So when people get owned because it's a function of roster construction, I am very interested in getting the hitters on the opposite side.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. I do wish I wish this lineup was a little bit more balanced, but
yeah,
that's my only quarrel with any of this would be I'd like to see a little bit more balance in the lineup because Teheran seems to struggle against, righties last year gave him a tough time, but for his career, this guy has been much worse against lefties because he has a changeup that is not good. His slider is good, but I think you make a lot of sense here. I definitely wouldn't try and talk you off of Padres bats here. They should be it should be virtually unowned here. And the biggest thing, if you're looking for an off the radar stack to get leverage, the Padres always make sense for one reason. They may strike out a decent amount. They may not be that good, but when they're hitting, they hit for power. And that's what you're looking for anyway. You're hoping that they can hit multiple home runs, and this is a team that can do it.
They can. And I mildly hope that they do against my Braves here.
You just mildly hope?
Well, I don't like aggressively cheering against the Braves, especially now that I talk about baseball every single day. I don't ultimately care how anything ends up. I care more about my personal production than the Braves, but when I don't have to care all that, if I can win with a different lineup, I'd rather just do that.
Okay. So mildly, I got you.
Yeah, I can't get too aggressive. By the way, in the last calendar year for Teheran, 18.3% home run per fly ball rate against right-handed pitching, or right-handed hitters rather. That's quite a bit above average. So while he is good and better against righty bats, he's still not stopping them from going yard on him. So
home run per fly ball is super misleading. How many fly balls? Well, no, I mean, what was his fly ball rate?
36.4%. Nope, that's the league average. 40.4%.
So 18% home run per fly ball rate is really high.
Yeah.
But the reason I say it's misleading for anyone, if anyone's wondering, if his ground ball rate is 70% or like 65%, you have far less fly balls, and which means you have a lot less fly balls, so a lot less of them need to leave the park for him to have a high home run per fly ball rate.
39.6% ground ball rate.
Right. A high fly ball pitcher or a fly ball pitcher with a high home run per fly ball rate is bad.
Yes.
Simple enough.
Yeah,
so sure. That's God, almost 19% with that's crazy.
Yeah. So
pretty bad.
My chances.
Pretty bad.
That's what I'm looking for in a GPP. A guy that'll give up a bunch of home runs. That will win me it. I'm not going to get there by singles and doubles. Did you have any Braves bats that you wanted to point out here?
No, Paddock to me is good enough to where I don't really have much interest. Plus, we've talked about it a lot. Just not a very easy team to stack, and they seem to never come through for me anyway.
I never have them, man. I never have them.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, like I get a pop up and it'll say like Ozzie Albies home run, and it's like, cool. I know that the number on above the like your winnings are about to drop, Josh.
Yeah,
I know. I just don't have it. Brewers and Rockies. 4.4 run implied total for the Brewers, 4.6 for the Rockies, 52% chance to win for Colorado. Julie Chassin going for Milwaukee. German Marquez going for Colorado. Chassin getting 6% ownership on DK. I actually completely don't have a problem with that, even though I didn't get to him. No ownership whatsoever, really, going to Marquez. 2% on Yahoo, 2% on FanDuel, 3% on DraftKings. He grades out really well. I think that he's comparable to Luis Castillo, Walker Buehler. These guys are not getting really any ownership. I'm really anxious to see what happens if we get early word that Snell and or Cole are off of this slate. I want to know who gets picked out of this, because it seems like it's going to be Luis Castillo. And if that's the case, I'm going to have quite a bit of German Marquez.
Yeah, that's certainly going to make things interesting. It looks like Kauffman Stadium. It looks like this Rays Royals game is in peril.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see.
Look, I don't like speculating on that stuff.
No, and we're going to talk about that game anyway, because right now it's so early. We'll assume that it's going to play. Yolis Chassin is somebody that's, generally speaking, been very good against righties. That was not the case against St. Louis the other week.
No.
But so you and I might disagree on this. Heading into this year, I had him as a pretty league average guy. Like, he had been pretty decent from a run prevention standpoint. Never a guy that I really have much interest in for tournaments, but he has always been better against righties than he has against lefties. That makes perfect sense given his arsenal. And now at Miller Park, I actually have now. Okay, what is our projected ownership on Rockies?
None.
Then that means I love him.
I don't have any on DK, but I have 7% aggregate on FanDuel, so I'm with you a little bit. So really expensive on DraftKings.
They are, and that's what makes it very difficult. But we know that this is one of the best lefty power parks in the game, like right behind Yankee Stadium. It is right there with it. Phenomenal park. Miller Park for home runs. The ball flies out of there, and Chassin just does nothing to. There's nothing to suggest that Chassin is going to go out there and just silence all of these hitters. He has really not looked good this year. He has a 10% strikeout rate against lefties, -5 K-BB rate, and a 7.2 xFIP. So really everything has gone wrong for him. A lot of fly balls to lefties, a ton of hard contact. I get it. The sample is not huge here, but I don't, and I know the Rockies aren't great away from course. I just don't think this is a great get right spot for him, Josh. Even if they're not good away from course, this is still a good enough Rockies lineup with Blackman, Story, Murphy now, who never strikes out, Arenado, Dahl, Ryan McMahon. I wish they were cheaper. If they were, I'd have a crazy amount of them on DraftKings against Yolis Chassin.
Yeah, I can see myself getting to a little bit more Rockies as I get closer to lock. But for right now, DK is really not the spot just because of their price points. On
No,
FanDuel, though, nobody getting more than 3% ownership, and I've got a bunch of guys at like the 7, 9, 13% for Story. So I really like getting to Colorado there, and I'm kind of just with the field on the Brewers.
Chacin's allowed multiple home runs in 3 of his 6 starts this year. Man, this guy will allow some pop, and that's all it comes down to for me. You want power here, and you have a team in the Rockies that can put string runs together in bunches. I want to know where you're at on Marquez. You talked about like this could end up being the guy for you, assuming weather doesn't cooperate with us.
It's so hard to say.
I'm a huge Marquez fan. I said before the season started that he would be top 5 in NL strikeouts and he'd win 20 games. 20 games is going to be tough because they can't seem to get him many wins.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I believe he's that good. Yeah. I also hate playing righties against the Brewers. The biggest thing for me is going to be, will Yelich be in the lineup? That one batter makes a very big difference for opposing pitchers.
Yeah, like I like Marquez. I will not get to much of him if these guys stay on the slate. If Cole and Snell drop off, I expect to get more Marquez than the other guys in that range just because I don't think that he's going to get the ownership. However, I do want to stack against him. And I think Marquez is fantastic. But we don't get a lot of lineups with so much lefty power. And if Yelich is in this lineup, from 2 to 7, every single one of these guys projects with an ISO higher than 200. As a team for the game, just aggregated together, 206 ISO. Like, I just want to have parts of teams that could hit a bunch of bombs. And
of course,
it doesn't matter to me at all who that pitcher really is. It's not like I want to go crazy and stack up the Brewers, but there is no combination of middle of the order Brewers bats plus Locane where I'd be like, oh, can't do that one today.
And again, fantastic park as well.
Yep. Yeah. So I will likely have Brewers, Rockies, and Marquez. Chacin is the one that's left out in the cold.
All right. I would have more Marquez, weather pending, of course, if Yelich is out of the lineup.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, it'll look a lot better.
He's that good. Like Yelich is that good that he can make a difference for a pitcher. Yeah, I'd rather just a much worse player. I mean, you have Yelich and then a replacement level player. Yeah, big difference.
Alrighty, we're at the halfway point. Perfect time to ask you guys to hit that like button. Very helpful for us. No effort out of you guys other than a little click. And then really subscribe to the channel. Again, this helps us out a ton, but it also helps you. You get notified immediately when we go live. We run multiple shows every single day, 4 of them today, plus Chris's Four Corners video. It's just a constant stream of content. So subscribe and you'll get notified earlier, and it'll even be mildly curated for you on YouTube. Just easier.
That's right. You heard the man.
Yeah.
A little click.
Yeah.
A little click, a lot of appreciation.
Exactly. Twins and Astros. Again, weather caveat here. Looking dicey. 3.5 run implied total for the Twins. 4.5 for the Astros. 61% chance to win for Houston. Michael Pineda going for the Twins. Garrett Cole going for the Astros. No ownership whatsoever going to Pineda. Don't really expect it to. For Cole, 34% on Yahoo, 18 on FanDuel, 25 on DraftKings. Cole is my second favorite starter on FanDuel, second favorite starter on DraftKings, second favorite starter on Yahoo. I love Cole. There's swing and miss to be found in this Minnesota lineup, and honestly, it sounds ridiculous, but knowing that Willians Astudillo is not in this lineup is very important to Cole's upside, especially if it ends up being Jason Castro. I'm cool with Cole here, and I'm going to have a bundle. What about you?
Yeah, I don't dislike him at all. Okay, so I was stressing this a lot yesterday that Minnesota lineup was way better than anyone would have expected.
They are good.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I phrased that wrong. The lineup that we got for Minnesota was way better for Verlander than what I would have expected.
Gotcha.
They are good. No. It is a good lineup, man. Like when you figure that when you consider Max Kepler begins hitting and hitting well and already doesn't strike out, he's been a force atop that lineup. Polanco has been good. Rosario, they have been good. And Nelson Cruz wasn't in the lineup yesterday, but obviously a guy like Nelson Cruz does a lot of damage. They've hit righties very, very well this season. And a lot of times, if you just put the ball in play and have a decent amount of pop, good things can happen. I do like Cole. Uh, absolutely. I want to see what the lineup looks like. If Jake Cave is in there, probably won't be because Cruz should be back. But if Castro's in there over Garver, that's an upgrade. There are ways that this lineup can be better or worse for Cole. I think ultimately it'll be pretty fine, but I still have Bauer ahead of him. That's the one difference, or the one caveat for me, is that I still like Bauer more than Garrett Cole for a number of reasons.
Okay. Yeah, I actually have Bauer behind Cole.
That's
Not by any appreciable amount. Like, it's negligible at best. And I don't think it's going to even matter because I don't expect to have Garrett Cole by the time we get to lock.
Right. That weather is, I don't know. That's tough to say. That weather seems more difficult to predict right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even talking just from like this game might get postponed, but I'm seeing it as a situation where I don't think that I can roster him comfortably.
Okay, I got you.
Like, if it's up in the air, and the way that it looks right now, it looks like it could just be, rain off and on for the entire time that they would like to play this game. Even if it plays, that makes me really nervous about getting Cole in tournaments. So
right.
I don't really assume that I end up with Cole by the time we get there, but I'm not trying to predict the weather at 10:42 a.m.
Right. It's not going to do us any good.
No.
But yes, of course, Cole is in play here. I do have him among let's take the 10K or more or higher guys on DraftKings. I was going to say, let's take the 50K or higher guys on Yahoo, but I mean, Zach Greinke's about $50. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, but you could take
Zach Greinke also 10-3 on FanDuel, which is tied for third with Garrett Cole, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right, fine. Let's take the 50 plus guys, and we'll take the 10 plus K guys on FanDuel.
Yeah.
If I'm ranking them, for me, it's Bauer, Snell, and that's tough. I know people might have an issue with that one, but we'll get there. Weather pending, and then Cole, then Castillo, then Greinke. So there you have it. That's where I'm at. What about you?
I go Snell, Cole, Bauer, Castillo, Greinke.
Okay, so our top three are mixed up a bit,
yeah, but technically my fourth is Cole Hamels, but we'll get there.
I was talking only the 50 plus guys.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I have Cole Hamels ahead of those other guys, like even disregarding like their price. Like if Cole Hamels was priced like Zach Greinke and Luis Castillo, I would still have like double the interest of Cole Hamels than those two guys.
Wow. Okay. You must be on to something I'm missing. I'm looking forward to this.
Always, man. Always.
All right.
Any bats in this Twins Astros game? Because I don't have a terribly large amount of interest. I have mild respect for Pineda.
I have plenty of respect for Pineda, but when he unravels, I said this before, he can't really put the pieces back together.
No, he can't. He's Humpty Dumpty for sure.
For me, if it's Houston bats, I'm stacking them and just hoping for an offensive explosion, right? That I actually do have quite a bit of interest here. They're not going to come cheap. You're always going to have to pay for them, but they're not wildly overpriced either. I mean, Correa, Bregman, Altuve are cheaper than a decent amount of players at their position. So it's not like you say, oh, I can't get to these bats. No, you absolutely can. And they're surprisingly much cheaper than other bats that you wouldn't expect to be that pricey.
Yeah, they grade out really well individually. I didn't get to them. I also only ran 4 3s on FanDuel and 5 2s on DraftKings. I don't go out of my way to like run all sorts of random crunches before it matters. when I start running more stuff with one-offs, I would expect Springer, Altuve, and Bregman to work their way in a little bit more.
Right, and not in the 5-man stacks. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, this one's the big one. Biggest implied total on the slate. Rangers, 5.3 run implied total. Pirates, 5.2. 52% chance to win for the Rangers.
Lyles.
What?
Jordan Lyles.
Oh, yeah. Adrian Sampson going for Texas. Jordan Lyles going for Pittsburgh. If I'm taking a pitcher out of this game, it's Sampson at 5K on DraftKings. But I'd really prefer to just not do either of those two things.
Yeah,
I don't need Sampson. I don't need Lyles. I got the 2% Sampson because he's 5K on DraftKings. So I'm not pitching that. He's not good. He's not going to miss bats. He's a mechanism to get more expensive hitters. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like a better John Means.
He's actually not.
He
is not. He's also right-handed, but
sure.
I cannot agree with you that I can't look at Adrian Sampson and put better in front of his name really than anybody. This guy's not good. Look, has he done an okay job of limiting runs? Yeah, I guess, but contact pitchers at Globe Life when the weather starts to warm up generally don't fare well when they have 37% ground ball rates.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, he's bad. He's bad. I'm fucking around, man.
Oh no, I know I'm not lashing you here. I'm trying to explain why I think he gets hit.
No, I just wanted to make sure that you weren't taking me seriously.
No, not at all. Less than 6 Ks per 9.
Yeah.
37. So no strikeouts, not a lot of ground balls. Doesn't work out very often at Globe Life Park.
Negative. So here's the weird thing. Clearly we're getting some chalk in this game. If I check out ownership right now, and I want to make sure I get the right totals, this has to change, right? What is the outlier? There's no way this is right. Okay. Gong won't be that owned. Neither will Polanco. We'll get into that later, I guess. Anyway, we have the aggregate ownership of the Pirates at 22% on FanDuel. Next closest team is 8. Let's just assume that the Pirates are the chalk stack of the day. Texas is second. Same story on DraftKings. These guys are 1-2. I'm quite a bit under the field on both teams. I understand why they're getting ownership. I have much less interest. I don't think the Rangers grade out that well at all. I do, however, think the Pirates grade out really well, and they're a very affordable stack. But if they are this popular, they will not be that popular for me in tournaments. I think the Pirates make for a very nice cash stack if you're trying to get bats here.
Yeah. Now, I'll just be honest with you. The Pirates are one of these teams. I just hate loading up on them when it's Pirates offense. I don't know. I have a bad history with the Pirates. Not that would ever keep me from doing it, but they're just one of those teams where you look at them and you're looking at your Pirate stacks and you're saying, ugh, really? You know, I have to play all of these guys in the same lineup. But it's Adrian Sampson. It's Arlington, Texas. It's a great park. And none of them are really priced up for the matchup, which is, really the biggest thing here. God, I guess it has to be done. Now, what type of ownership do you have yourself on right now for these Pirate bats against Sampson?
8% aggregate on FanDuel, 6% on DraftKings. Basically nobody, like everybody in and around 10%.
Like not having Dickerson and Marte in the lineup sucks when you're talking about stacking a team and hoping to get a little bit more power and upside. But I guess it just means we'll get them cheaper. As far as Lyles goes, I'm not giving up on him just yet, but really had trouble missing any bats in his last 2 starts.
Yeah.
And if you're pitching to contact at Globe Life, much like Sampson, bad things are generally going to happen to you.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is a good spot to have bad things happen to you from an offense perspective.
Yep. He has a 51% fly ball rate this year too, which is protected him at times, but we saw what happened at PNC Park, right? Like, he gave up 2 home runs to guys that generally don't hit home runs.
Hopefully he does that again today. Well, actually, no, I hope he doesn't because I won't have really any exposure to the Rangers outside of Odor as one-offs. Odor, my favorite play on Yahoo today. He's also getting 49% ownership.
Yeah, that price point is insane.
Yeah.
Flat out insane.
So what do you...
27 on Yahoo, or sorry, 2,700 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I got to 9% there, and the public is at 35.
Whew.
I just don't need that much Odor in my life. If this is the day that he happens to go yard, it'll bite me. Otherwise, he's not the type of guy that goes like 3 for 4 with a lot of peripheral stats.
No, generally speaking, he isn't. Although I think you just set him up for one of those games.
I certainly did. You're welcome. I was talking about his brother, Rougned Odor. You got the wrong Rougned Odor here.
By the way, Joey Gallo is always in play.
Yep, agreed. And Chu as well. That grades out really nicely. But if these guys are going to get a ton of ownership and still be costly, and Jordan Lyles isn't getting any ownership, I'm just going to naturally be light here and hope that chalk busts.
So right now, Rangers are pretty heavy chalk by the looks of it. For a 15 gamer, at least.
I mean, they're 1-2 on both sides.
Okay. That's going to have... Okay, the park's obviously great, but... And they're more... some of these guys, I don't want to say household names, but they make for a better stack when you're talking about power. Still, though, the Pirates play half of their games at such a terrible park. I mean, it's a great shift for them, and none of them are overpriced. Like I said, it's not... These bats are not as powerful. They're not as great. But at the same time, Pittsburgh having a big game with a few home runs, possibly 10 runs across the plate at Globe Life is not an outrageous thought whatsoever.
No.
So while it sucks having 2 of their best hitters on the injury list, the IL, Josh, I have interest in the Pirates, who are likely not going to be very popular against Adrian Sampson and a Texas bullpen that has really, really struggled this year. They've been very bad in every single respect. That's another thing to consider.
I want to make sure that you didn't say this incorrectly or not, or make sure you're not looking at the wrong thing. Did you say that the Pirates are not going to be popular?
Oh, I thought you said that the Rangers were going to be way more popular than the Pirates.
The Pirates are number 1 with a bullet on both sites right now.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought you had said that the Rangers were the most popular and the Pirates weren't getting as much.
No. So
I misheard you.
The Pirates are 3 times as owned as the Rangers right now on FanDuel, but they're both 1 and 2. I don't expect that number to continue the way that it looks, but they are both. The Pirates are 1 on FanDuel and DraftKings. Rangers are 2 on FanDuel and DraftKings.
Okay. Then honestly, I'm serious. That completely changed my opinion of him.
That's why the only reason I pointed it out was
I totally misheard you. Yeah. I thought you said the Rangers were super chalky and the Pirates weren't. Yeah.
Well, when I opened it up and saw that the Pirates were getting 1/4 of all of the exposure to FanDuel, it caught me off guard.
Bad bats in a good park with high ownership, I'm perfectly happy to fade them. Bad bats in a great park and a good matchup with no ownership, well, then I'm happy to play them. But
you think they're bad?
I don't think they're very good. I mean, go over it. Melky Cabrera.
I think they've got a lot of average hitters.
They do. Okay, so maybe bad is a stretch, but pedestrian. There's nothing about them that stands out to me.
They don't have a ton of power. I think that's probably the better way to look at it. I think they're a better lineup in baseball than they are in fantasy.
Yeah, and they don't strike out very often.
Right.
But again, for a team like the Pirates, ownership is to me is very important.
Totally agree.
But yeah, my mistake. I misheard you. And
no worries.
It was surprising too.
Yeah, that's cool. It was so weird to me to hear you say that. I didn't know that if you just misspoke or you heard me.
Yeah, no, I didn't I misheard you.
Okay. To the White Sox we go. White Sox, 4.9 run implied total. Orioles, 4.1. 58% chance to win for the Sox. Ivan Nova going for Chicago. Andrew Cashner going for Baltimore. Certainly don't want any part of Cashner, but can we talk about Ivan Nova getting 15% expected ownership at 5,900 on DK?
Wow, really?
Really? Now, I will say this. He grades out like a guy that should get a little bit of love at 5,900 for me. Not so sure that I want him to be my primary at the bottom.
I'm certain I don't want him to be mine.
Yeah.
I don't even need to say anything about it.
Now, look, it's a great spot. The Orioles strike out a ton. But he's still Ivan Nova, a guy with a projected 6.4 Ks per 9. Not a lot of juice in this.
Yeah, they might strike out, but you still need someone that can get some strikeouts.
Yeah, I don't agree with this one at all. So I will let other people play Ivan Nova. I got 2%.
Okay.
That's cool with me, you know?
This guy is he's disastrous. And by this same Baltimore team hit 4 home runs against him just last week in one start. So
well, let's hope they do it again, because I have quite a bit more than the field of the Orioles, who are going completely underowned or
I have
unowned.
way more interest in them.
Unowned.
Yeah.
Unowned. Highest guy on DraftKings is 5% for Chris Davis. Highest guy on FanDuel is 6% for VR. Everyone else is 1%.
Uncle's right in Slack, the Uncle DFS. He's right. The rain concerns in this game are massive.
Yeah.
Weather concerns.
Yep, for sure.
This might be the worst weather game of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tampa Bay KC is the one that's the really worst, but this one's tricky too. But the good part about this game is that you're not paying attention to it for the same reasons. Having weather in a game where you're trying to take hitters is way different than having weather in a game where you're trying to take pitchers.
Of course.
Because the only thing that matters to you is how often do you think this game doesn't finish when you're trying to stack bats. When you're trying to roster pitchers, the biggest thing you're worried about is how often does this game take a pause for 90 minutes and this guy never comes back out on the field?
Yeah. Even if it's a pause for 30 minutes and he does come back, you don't want that happen. You
Never.
just do not want that happening. So yeah,
if I'm in this case, I would probably, depending on what it looks like, close to lock. Like, I don't think that I would pull either one of these teams out if it looked like the game had a chance to play, especially if they weren't going very owned. I don't mind having full stacks of teams with potential weather issues. I'm willing to take those sorts of risks.
Here's the issue I have is the Chicago White Sox continue to be wildly overpriced. Like, I get it, man. These guys have been pretty solid, but I mean, just the idea of paying $5K plus for Anderson and Moncada and Abreu, yeah, it's a good spot. Of course. Yeah, but God, they're so pricey on DraftKings, and that has not changed at all. It's kind of tough to get there against Cashner, even though even though it is a good matchup. It's tough for me to get there at those prices.
Here's a question for you. What percentage of the time do you think this game gets rained out and Andrew Cashner's 0 does better than what it would have been if he played?
Interesting.
Because it's a lot higher than 0, I think. I mean, I would say like 5 to 10% of the time, Andrew Cashner puts up a score below what would happen if this game got like rained out and you had to eat Cashner.
Yeah, it's probably like 10%.
Craziness, right?
What?
It's so crazy to think about.
It absolutely is. I mean, I don't think Nova's any different here. Like
and yet he's 15% owned.
Yeah, I get that Baltimore offensively is not great and that Trey Mancini is not healthy, or we don't know yet. But dude, Nova's been horrible, and I really don't believe that he's gonna get that much better. I'm not saying he's gonna allow 4 home runs every night, but he's done nothing to suggest that things are gonna turn around for good.
Oh my god, dude. Cashner, so is this wow, this is craziness. So Cashner went for -3 in his first start of the year. He's been better in his last 3 starts. He was also 4,500 at that point. Now he's 6,500 in his last start, 5,500 here. Anyway, -3 in his first start of this season. He was also negative in his last 4 starts of last year. He had 5 straight negative scores. He had a negative 20.25 last year against Texas.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not very good.
1 2/3, 7 hits, 10 earned. That's fascinating. Okay, so let's talk bats. Anything from the White Sox for you? Because I'm not really getting there, and I'm kind of surprised.
I mean, yes, I love them all, but I don't know how you work those price points in.
Yeah, 3 guys higher than 5,000. One of which is Tim Anderson, which is arguably like the most ridiculous price on any site.
Lurie Garcia's 47 too. So, all of these guys, all of them, not all of them, most of them, if you're trying to stack the White Sox, are going to give you a very difficult time doing so.
Indeed. Yeah, I just can't get to them. Again, this is another team where I expect pieces of them to show up more than what I got in my first crunch when I run different styles of stacks. Like Jose Abreu, especially on FanDuel. Yonder Alonso on FanDuel for 2,600 is really appealing. I'll get to some of this, but it's hard for me. I'll likely get to more Orioles, and I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that too.
Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games to go here. This is a monster slate.
We're doing all right.
Have fun writing this deep dive. Shit, my money. It should be a blast today.
Yeah, he's gonna have fun with that.
Yeah, I doubt it. Royals and Rays. 3.2 run implied total for the Royals, 4.3 for the Rays, 62% chance to win for Tampa. Shout out Yanni Chirinos yesterday. He bailed himself out.
Spencer Turnbull starting. It's not Tyson Ross. He's having himself a kid.
Yeah, like in Junior, he's pregnant.
Son of a bitch. What?
Like in Junior, he's pregnant.
Yes, that's it, Josh. He is the one that's pregnant. Yes,
cool.
Going into labor.
Cool. Good luck with that, man. It's scary. Jacob Junis going for Kansas City. Blake Snell going for Tampa. And I'm gonna lie. I'm really mad that this game's not gonna happen. Blake Snell not getting a ton of ownership. Jacob Junis getting no ownership. These are 2 of like my 5 or 6 favorite guys on the slate. And it's not going to happen. And I was going to be miles above the field on both. I have 19%. I have 19% Jake Junis on DraftKings right now.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not seeing it, but you can explain why.
Yeah. So 7,500 obviously is, a mid-tier price tag. And there is no one else around him relevant. From Pomeranz at 7,900 to Jason Vargas at 6,300. No one is projected for more than 1% ownership. It's just a dead zone. So he fits that bill. Based on the projected lineup right now, the Rays have a 25% aggregate K rate. No one is below 20. Yandy Diaz is at 20%. Nate Lowe, I assume that one's actually low, is 21%. And then it's 25, 26, 26, 25, 24, 34, 26. There are a ton of strikeouts here, and I think Junis is like a hair above average as a pitcher. Nothing crazy. And the Rays scare me because I think they're talented, but there's a lot of strikeouts here. And if Jake Junis is going completely unowned, I have some interest in that as an SP2. It's also not going to matter because it's going to get rained out by noon today.
Look, I'm not going to argue that. I'm okay with that. When propped up against Velasquez or Porcello or Julio Teheran, a cheaper Jake Junis is not crazy. I mean, he's like the definition of a league average guy.
Yeah. I think it's really telling that the Rays projected total is only 4.3 runs.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better about what I'm saying. And again, It won't matter.
No, it probably won't. But in the event that it does, I absolutely do like Blake Snell here.
He's number one for me. I got 57% on DraftKings right now,
Okay.
26 on FanDuel. We had him projected for 7% ownership on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have him behind Bauer just because I think Bauer's matchup is both high floor and high ceiling.
Yes, Bauer is safer.
Yeah, but this is a this is a Royals team where you put them up against a lefty, and you start to see a decent amount of Ks here. So just looking back over the last year and a half or year and a month or whatever it is, and take a look at some of these K rates. Ryan O'Hearn against lefties, massive. Jorge Soler, massive K rate. Hunter Dozier, 26%. Hamilton, 27% or 26%. Maldonado, 26%. Owings, 25%. Dude, Mondesi's at 23%. Gordon at 21. Whit Merrifield's the only guy under 20 unless Terrence Gore's in the lineup, and Terrence Gore's pretty much a free out anyway.
Yeah.
From Owings to Maldonado, Hamilton, Dozier, Soler, O'Hearn. There's 6 of them. Maybe all of them will be in the lineup, maybe not. But all those guys 25+% strikeouts. This could be a very high upside spot for Blake Snell.
Yeah, he can really mow down this entire team. 91 weighted runs created plus based on this lineup right now. The only guys above 100. Merrifield 101, O'Hearn 100, Soler 104. I mean, they're barely an average team and significantly below at the base. Yeah, we had 16% ownership projected to Snell. I had 57. None of it's going to matter because this one's going to get wiped off the table.
Yeah, there's only one thing about this Kansas City team that really does at times concern me, and that is can Blake Snell hold runners when he lets them on, or are they going to be running all over him? That's it.
Very,
and
very
they probably
real
will
concern
run all
too.
over because this team's got a ridiculous amount of speed.
Yeah. So, in what was my favorite game for pitching, will ultimately not matter. I will have to redistribute 33% of my ownership on FanDuel and 76, I don't know, close to 40% of my pitching exposure. Everything's going to look a lot different.
It will be interesting to see if some of these games get early postponements, if they just say screw it, we're postponing them.
I hope they wipe this one off the map early.
It's very possible.
Yeah. I did not have any real interest in hitting on either side. Nobody more than like 5%, and that's mostly Rays bats. But I don't have any hitting takes. This is not the spot for me.
If I'm looking anywhere for hitters, Junis is susceptible to giving up power, and when he's missing his spots, the home runs can come in bunches.
Yep.
So I'm never opposed to a Rays stack against Junis, but it's very hit or miss with Junis and with whoever he's facing. So I'm not high on them, but if you were to ask me among the 30 teams on this slate, where would the Rays rank? Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. That's pretty much where I would have them as well. They are actually, I mean, I can give you an actual answer. They are 16th.
Look at that.
FanDuel and 17th on DraftKings. So yeah, I mean, that's about as middle as it's going to be.
Yep. Well, 15th would be as middle as it's going to be, but I get
actually 15 and a half.
Sure.
I mean, like the 16 one is technically legit. It would be 15, 16 would be the split we're looking for. Diamondbacks and Yankees. 4.5 run implied total for the D-backs. 4 run implied total for the Yanks. 56% chance to win for Arizona. Zach Greinke on the hill for the Diamondbacks. CC Sabathia going for the Yanks. Greinke, $50 on Yahoo. 10-3 on FanDuel. 9,700 on DraftKings. Why is he so expensive?
I guess just because he's been really good, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not here. Can't do it.
Yeah, I got a straight 0. I hope that losing pitchers above does not get me to any more Greinke, and I hope that losing the pitchers above him does get the other public to Greinke. which, judging by 14% ownership on DraftKings, if we lose Snell and we lose Cole, I think Greinke ends up being chalky, and I'm cool with not being around for that.
I'll tell you what, though, man. Listen to this.
I like him, though. He's good. He's just not that priced good.
Who, Greinke?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to this. So we already knew that Bird was hurt. We already knew that Andujar was hurt. We already know that Gregorius and Tulowitzki.
You're better off reading the guys that are healthy.
Hold on. We already knew that Judge and Stanton were hurt and Aaron Hicks was hurt. And we knew that Clint Frazier hit the DL as well. Okay, well, now this is crazy, man. Somebody put a curse on the Yankees.
It was a little B?
Yeah, exactly. Now he's worried about KD, man.
Yeah.
Now DJ LeMahieu and Gio Urshela are both hurt.
Both guys in my projected lineup right now.
Well, all I know is that both of them. So you had.
By the way, I agree with you that they are both hurt.
Yeah, they might both play, but they are both day to day. They are both dealing with some form of injury. It is really incredible the amount of injuries this team has been dealt so early in the season.
I don't remember seeing anything like this.
No, honestly, no. I
can't think of a time where basically, I mean, they are essentially missing, or at one point in time, they were essentially missing like all 9 starters.
Yeah. Judge, Stanton, Hicks, Frazier, Tulowitzki, Gregorius, LeMahieu. I'm just, anybody that's day to day too. Andujar, Urshela.
I mean, Sanchez was out.
Greg Bird. That's 10 right there, not including pitchers.
Like, they were missing what could be like normal, everyday, full lineups.
You could put it this way, you could field an incredible starting lineup with who's on their injured list.
Yeah.
Excellent starting lineup.
Yeah. I don't have anything in this game. I don't have bats. I don't have pitching. I don't have interest in anything that's in here. Do you?
No, not really. Unless you're interested in looking at, like, if you think, Sabathia struggles and gives up power like he did last game, I don't think it's crazy to look at a couple of the bats like Ketel Marte, but he's so expensive that I don't really, and because he's much better against lefties. But these Arizona bats are too expensive for me to do it. And while Sabathia is not great, he's also not a gas can. I'm with you. This is a game I think pretty much stay away from.
Yep. Completely agree. If you got to a share or two of Sabathia, I don't hate it, but it's not something I'm going to advocate for.
It's weird that the game where he gives up 3 home runs is against the Angels at Angel Stadium. It just seems so weird that would be the spot where he gets cooked.
Giants and Dodgers. Sheet was slow to update there. 3.1 run implied total for the Giants, 3.9 for the Dodgers, 60% chance to win for LA. Drew Pomeranz going for San Francisco. Walker Buehler going for the Dodgers. No interest in Pomeranz, but Walker Buehler, $46 on Yahoo, $9,400 on FanDuel, $9,900 on DraftKings. He grades out in the same tier as Castillo Marquez for me. Not getting any ownership as of right now. 2% on FanDuel, 2% on DraftKings, 4% on Yahoo. If and when we lose Cole and Snell, I think that I'm going to end up on quite a bit of Walker Buehler. Just a natural place to go if he's not going to get any ownership. You're not going to find a better park for him to throw in. I understand that the Giants can run out a bunch of lefties and there's not like a monstrous strikeout matchup, but you get bailed out so bad by pitching in San Francisco that it would be hard for me to not at least take a really close look at Walker Buehler.
Do you think there's anything wrong with Buehler, or do you think he just had a couple bad games?
I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Okay.
I mean, he had no problem striking out 8 6 1/3 against the Reds 13 days ago, so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but
I'm of the mindset that he's probably okay. He's faced a string of some pretty difficult matchups in some tough parks.
Yeah, at
Um,
Chicago, at St. Louis, at Colorado is not exactly 3 like
no,
guaranteed W's.
nope, not at all. So I actually do think he's a bit overpriced, but the park is great, and if Walker Buehler is if he's in form, if he looks like the Walker Buehler that we saw last year, 9,900, and the price point that he's got across the board is well. By the way, I meant on DraftKings. No, you know what? He's pretty expensive everywhere. It is a good spot. You need the strikeouts to accompany him or to accompany the innings and the run prevention. So I don't know. I don't love Walker Buehler. I don't dislike Walker Buehler. Similar to Kenta Maeda yesterday, I feel like this is going to be one of those starts where it's like 6 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, or something like that.
So what do I have him projected for in Ks? 6.5.
Sounds fair. How many innings?
6.
5 2/3, 6 innings.
6. Gave him 6. He averaged 5.8 innings per start over his last calendar year. I don't mind rounding that up to 6 in a game in San Francisco. We're going to go deeper in a game. This is the park where it's going to happen. Giants bats didn't really get to much. They're mildly affordable on DraftKings. Same sort of story for me for the Dodgers. I have a little bit more than I would have expected, but I respect Pomeranz. And again, this is not a great park for like trying to get big offensive performances. So it's mostly just Buehler once we lose Cole and Snell.
Yeah, when Pomeranz hangs those curveballs, he gets a lot of help at Oracle Park. So
yeah,
the truth is, man, Dodgers San Francisco or Dodgers Giants games in San Francisco just don't do a whole lot for me. You know, outside of maybe the Dodgers pitching, it's not a game that I'm really all that interested in. And yes, there are a lot of righties that hit lefties really well for this Dodgers team. But you have 15 games, and I'm gonna have a tough time getting there. So,
yeah,
I don't have much.
I enjoyed the Giants-Dodgers game that I saw in San Francisco. I got Johnny Cueto versus Clayton Kershaw.
Totally has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but yeah, I'm sure it was a great time.
I watched Kershaw do long toss in the outfield.
Was that when he was good?
He still is. So Kershaw is standing in like left center, and the dude that he's throwing to is like near the right field foul pole, and Kershaw is throwing just frozen ropes to this dude on a line, no arc, just bullets on a dime over and over and over again, and that is a bomb throw in San Francisco.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't stop watching it. I didn't even need the game to start. I was like, I could watch Kershaw throw from the middle of left field to the foul pole all day.
If you took a pitcher in our lifetime through like that we've been alive, but since we've been like actually watching and following baseball, like you know, not just knowing about it and as a kid and whatever, but really loving the game. The first pitcher that should come to mind to someone your age or my age is Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And I'm joking about him not being good anymore. I don't believe he is the same. He doesn't have the same velocity. And he doesn't miss the same amount of bats, but he has still found a way to pitch really well because he's elite. So yeah, watching him in person is a pretty cool experience.
Yes, it is.
I saw him mow down the Phillies, and that was when they were horrible after, you know, the World Series run, and they collapsed and turned into garbage. Yeah.
Anything interesting for you in this entire game that you want to point out?
No.
2 to go. Angels and Blue Jays. 4.6 run implied total for the Angels. 3.9 for the Jays. 57% chance to win for the Angels. Griffin Canning going for the Angels. Clay Buchholz going for Toronto. Canning looks like a, you know, average-ish guy. I don't anticipate...
weird name.
Yeah. I don't have any interest. I got to 1% on FanDuel, 1% on DK. That's fine. No interest whatsoever in Clay Buchholz. That dude is washed. Do have a lot of interest in Blue Jays bats, however. So talk to me about this game in general. Any Canning or Buchholz?
I used to watch baseball and watch sports, and it was like they all seemed like adults to me, and I was a kid, And time goes by real fast looking at this guy who when I was 10, he was born, or when I was not like Josh, these guys are so damn young, it's ridiculous. You remember the days where you used to watch it and it's like, oh, these guys are all old. Really, they'd be like 19, 20 years old, but it doesn't feel that way.
Yup.
And now you're looking at it and you're older than almost everybody on the field or on the court. It's my girl asked me yesterday. She asked me, she's like, how old's Kawhi Leonard? Because I showed her his laughing video, which is one of the best videos ever. I was like, oh, he's 27. It's so strange, man. It really is. Not to get us off topic, but yeah, Griffin Canning's 22 years old. Born in 1996, Josh. And he is someone that Steamer has projected for around 8.5 Ks per 9. A lot of walks, and like you said, pretty much projecting him league average across the board. I don't know. I admittedly really don't know a lot about this guy.
Yeah. He's just a guy. He's a relative. I think he's the 4th highest prospect for the Angels right now.
Curveball's 50. Fastball 55 out of 55.
Yeah, it's just he's a guy. Potential, live interesting arm.
Dude, let me ask you
doesn't
something.
project all that well though. Hold
on. Pull up his fan graphs. Look at this. So 2018 Angels high A. 2018 Angels double A. 2018 Angels triple A.
Yeah.
He worked. Do you see what he worked through? He worked up throughout the entire system. He never played low A or single A ball. A plus or high A, double A.
He shouldn't, though. That's the thing.
What?
He shouldn't.
Yeah, but 1 year?
He was 21. He got drafted out of UCLA. He's playing above his head if he's playing in high A.
You mean playing below his head?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
You just don't see this very often.
2nd round pick out of college. That's a pretty normal trajectory to me.
Okay.
I don't see anything too crazy. I mean, he made 2 starts in high A and then went straight to double A. That for his pedigree, that seems perfectly reasonable to me.
It's like Steven Strasburg trajectory.
At this point I don't even remember how Strasburg came out. Now I just want to know.
Similar to that, started at double A, I think.
He did.
And then just moved his way up.
Yeah. 22 innings in double A, 33 innings in triple A, and then was in the major league rotation that same year, 68 innings.
Yeah. Kershaw was the 7th overall pick. 2006 Dodgers rookie league.
Yeah, but he's a high school kid.
What?
He's a high school kid. He's 18.
Yeah. Right. No, I hear you. It's weird to see that with guys that like this Canning guy. What I'm saying is, if this is the case, then he's not just some garbage gas can, or at least not projected to be.
No, not at all. He's got, he projects as like a league average guy. He just doesn't have any one true knockout pitch. As evidenced by, 9.5 Ks per 9 in double A and triple A. I think he's just looks like he could be a league average starter for a bit. Projects probably as a 4. You can only go so far on a, maybe a plus slider and 4 neutral pitches. He profiles as a back of the rotation guy to me.
Well, it looks like plus curveball. He definitely has a plus curveball. Slider seems to be
50-50 on Fangraphs. Slider's 55-60.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have the Blue Jays bats than Griffin Canning making his debut.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
I
look, he's a blank canvas heading in. He has
you're right.
120 innings in the minors at this point in time. Like, to act, this is a guy where like I can't act like I know or like I expect anything really. But given FanGraphs scouting rankings and his performance in the minors, it's not something that I could expect him to just come out here and roll through the Blue Jays.
Yeah, you're probably right because well, and also when you're projecting guys, it's like how do you can only project for so much. You have to see it, unless a guy's just like a phenom. Uh, it's going to be pretty difficult to know, out of the gate. We haven't seen him yet, so
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, if he does really well, I hope it's the lineup that I have 1% of him in.
Yeah.
I love the Jays bats. What else is new?
Do you?
A little bit. Grichuk, Tellez, Vlad, McKinney. That 3, 4, 5, 6 looks really nice on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I think you could work Sogard in there. Not that I think that he is any good at all, but if he's leading off and has dual eligibility in the middle, then I'm okay working him into a stack. But yeah, I like the Blue Jays more than anything else in this game.
Okay. I don't really know I like anything here. I don't like the park. Canning is, like we said, probably a league average guy, but it is his first start. So I don't know if there's anything here that is particularly impressive that we should be worried about. I would say Toronto bats would make sense the more you look at it, yeah. And I know you're just going off your projections here.
Yeah.
But all in all, the price point on these guys too. Like Vlad's 3,900 on DraftKings. You're gonna get them all really cheap. This could be one of those teams where if you wanted 2 expensive pitchers, Toronto is one that you might be able to do it with.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't love them though. I mean, there's nothing in this game actually that I love.
No, I mean, like the most that I got of anybody is Grichuk at 13%. So it's not as if I'm going like bonkers on the Jays or anything. But I do like to have exposure to them if they're completely unowned, which apparently they are.
Yeah.
Final game. You ready?
Let's do it.
Mariners and Cubs. 4-run implied total for the Mariners, 4.6 for the Cubs, 57% chance to win for Chicago. Felix Hernandez going for Seattle. Cole Hamels going for the Cubbies. Hamels at roughly 20% ownership on the 2-pitcher sites, 13 on FanDuel. I'm going to get a ton of him when these guys start dropping off. He is my number 4 pitcher on all 3 sites. I like the price point. It gets you out of that high tier, allows you to open up an additional bat. There's a ton of strikeout potential in this Mariners lineup. I've got them at a 25% aggregate K rate for this game. I have Hamels with 7.2 strikeouts. That is the 4th highest number on the slate. I'm just going to get a lot. And when I don't have to give exposure to Blake Snell or Garrett Cole, I can only imagine that Cole Hamels ends up as my most exposed pitcher of the day.
Your highest exposed pitcher is going to be Cole Hamels, you think?
I think so, just because of his price. Really the only other option is Trevor Bauer. But just judging on what we have here, Bauer is around double Hamels' exposure now, and I have Hamels and Bauer relatively equal from an ownership perspective. So I anticipate getting more of Hamels because he's easier to fit in.
Okay. Man, that this is a tough one for me. Good park. Seattle's offense to me is not bad. I think they got off to a hotter start than they probably should have. Mitch Haniger, do you have him projected out of the lineup?
Haniger?
Yeah.
No. Should I?
Well, he was dealing with some.
I understand that he is whatever questionable means in baseball.
Well, he was out of the lineup Sunday. They didn't play Monday, so
Right.
I don't know if I guess your guess is as good as mine, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth considering because if Haniger's out of the lineup, then if you already have him projected in, you're going to like Hamels quite a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Taking that bat out of the lineup is only going to make everything that I just said even more true.
Right. So,
yeah, it's going to be a lot of Cole Hamels tonight. Rarely makes me feel good, but I do like having that sort of late night hammer. A lot will tell on how much ownership he picks up because I was hoping that he wouldn't be as owned as he is, but he is.
I'm surprised by that as well. It could have something to do with the fact that he's looked pretty solid. I mean, he has looked good, but I'm not as high on Cole Hamels. Weather's going to play a role here. Okay, so you have Hamels above, I guess, pretty much everyone. You said so. You have him higher owned than Snell, Bauer, Cole, assuming weather isn't an issue.
If I had everybody in here, Hamels is fourth for me on FanDuel. Go Snell, Cole, Bauer, Hamels. On DK, Snell, Cole, Bauer. Well, I have Hamels and Bauer essentially tied.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he's just really easy to get to because of that price tag. Like 9,200, or 8,700 on FanDuel is just a really affordable tag for me.
Yeah, I thought 92 is overpriced on Hamels, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not buying into the. I'm not buying into it. I still think Hamels is a serviceable pitcher, but I don't expect him to go out there and give you the 7 scoreless with 8 Ks each time out. I just think this is a harder matchup than what we've seen from him. He faced a tough Dodgers team last time, walked 6 of them. He did strike out 7, sure, but I just expect him to run into more trouble than he has been. He's not missing a ton of bats. He's look, Cole Hamels is still a serviceable guy. I'm of the opinion though that, and yes, I believe that he's above average, but I think he's probably like an 8K, 80, probably a little more than that, but 9K plus is tough for me to read. For me, it's hard to get there.
I wish you were 10K.
Greinke against what is probably going to be a totally shorthanded skeleton crew Yankees lineup.
So I have Hamels twice as likely than Greinke to reach the target score on DK, so 30 points.
All right.
I wish that Hamels was more expensive because I know that I would continue to get him, and I know that no one would have him then.
Definitely. What is his projected? Let me see.
He's at 17 right now on DraftKings. I wish that he was Luis Castillo's price at 10-1.
17's even higher than I expected, and he's the third highest projected owned pitcher on FanDuel as well.
Like the fact that Vince Velasquez is $500 cheaper than him and has 7% more exposure.
Oh, give me Hamels over. Yeah,
ludicrous to me.
Hamels over Velasquez any day of the week, no question. And there are strikeouts in this the Seattle lineup. I also just think, and by the way, again, the Mitch Haniger thing to me is huge. As dude is fantastic, but I have respect for this Mariners lineup. So that's probably the only reason that I look at it a little bit differently. I think it's a pretty strong lineup if Haniger's in it.
Matthew Williams, I put on a different hat for you. How's that, man? I'll never understand.
Phoenix Suns, huh?
Actually, it's NBA All-Star Weekend 1995, but it happened to be in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, gotcha. 1995.
I have the matching jacket.
Was that hat made?
No.
What do you think I'm going to say?
In 1995?
It wasn't,
no.
Right? It was. So, like, you actively sought out a 95 All-Star Game hat and jacket matching set?
No. I mean, I would.
That would be odd. It would be odd.
The wife bought me the jacket, and I was given the hat.
Who? Okay, it's like 2017, and someone's like, You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start making 1995 Phoenix All-Star game.
Man, you are doing a terrible job of representing your area of this planet.
No, it makes no sense.
Mitchell and Ness, buddy, Philadelphia.
Dude, Mitchell and Ness is outstanding. It doesn't mean that there aren't some decisions that are questionable.
Yeah, this is the best decision they've ever made. I love this hat, and the jacket is dope.
The
You want me to go get the jacket? You need to see this jacket.
Yeah,
I've worn it on a stream. I'll be 5 seconds. It's right around the corner.
I'm going to talk.
Okay.
I can't imagine going into a Mitchell and Ness store with all the phenomenal stuff they have and saying, "Oh, 1993 All-Star game matching hat and jacket. What a beautiful from Miami, Florida. I've got to get my hands on this." I could never understand that, but apparently Josh does. And I've seen some of Josh's jackets, by the way. It's going to be bright and vibrant. And the idea that you would wear this matching set out in public is beyond me. But we're about to see it. Here we go. Or he can't find it. Probably a good thing.
Get the microphone out of the way here.
Yeah, Mitchell and Ness did everyone a serious disservice.
Look at this. This is a fantastic jacket.
Hey, that is the worst jacket.
What do you mean? You don't like representing the 1995 NBA All-Star Game?
I don't get it.
What do you mean you don't get it? It's awesome.
I don't get why. What attachment, what desire to buy that would you ever have?
I didn't even buy it. My lovely wife bought this for me as a gift.
And that's nice of her. I'm sure there was instant buyer's remorse, but it was a sweet thought. Listen, were you like, oh man, the 95 All-Star game?
It was one of the best gifts I've ever received. This is incredible. I couldn't have been happier. This is a fantastic pick. She knows me to a T.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
He doesn't wear this out in public. Not only do I wear this out in public, but I don't wear it a lot, I'll be honest. It's a statement piece.
I said while you were going to get it that you wouldn't dare leave the house wearing the matching jacket and hat.
I wore this to a Ludacris concert last year.
That looks like it looks like something from a John Candy movie. You know,
You're crazy, man. This is incredible. I've got a nice colorful pair of Jordans that match it. It all goes together.
Stand up again. Let me see the back of it.
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
Oh man, that is so good. Oh, it's great. Oh man. All right. NBA All-Stars. Look at that. Some people just enjoy the throwbacks, which I can appreciate the throwbacks. Like give me a sick Eagles throwback or a throwback for the Phillies, you know, the old school like the what not baby blue, the what's it called? I can't remember now. But
I'm going to have to go to an All-Star game in Phoenix if they ever do this again.
Yeah, if they do, you 100% have to wear your 30-year-old jacket and hat.
This is incredible. It's incredible. I got this hat. I was given this hat without any tie to this jacket. It happened to be luck.
Oh man, how could you be so fortunate?
I'm glad, dude. You don't even want to know how expensive this jacket is either.
No, please don't tell me.
Because my previous college roommate was working for Mitchell and Ness at the time, so I wasn't paying remotely close to retail. That's why I have as much stupid sports apparel as I do right now.
I bet you couldn't believe your luck when you found that matching jacket to go along with your hat.
I mean, I can picture opening it up. It was amazing. She got me a lot of really sweet stuff. I got the really awesome Phil Niekro Braves batting practice jersey from her as a gift from Mitchell and Ness. I get decked out, man.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you know.
Wearing this, I need it less now, obviously, being married for close to 5 years. This is the type of thing that I want to wear out because no matter what, you're going to be able to talk to someone. It is a ridiculous jacket. It is an in conversations.
It is an immediate repellent.
You probably wouldn't like my Justin Timberlake t-shirt either. That was my go-to shirt to the bars. Big old picture from top to bottom, JT with the Jerry curl.
It's just, I'm picturing somebody walking around a Mitchell and Ness store being like, wow, that's sick. That is really, oh, I like that. Is that what I think it is?
That's exactly how I would have reacted if I were in the store.
A 1995 NBA All-Star jacket from Phoenix, Arizona. I cannot believe my good fortune. Sir, ring me up. It's amazing.
I've never been prouder. I'm honored to wear this.
Oh, you are
I
great.
feel Dan Marley flowing through my veins.
You are great. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Look, I might not live in Pennsylvania anymore, but I represent Philadelphia businesses. Apparently, Lofty doesn't like them as much.
Listen, that doesn't mean that I have to encourage or condone everything that they make and sell.
You hate cheesesteaks too, don't you?
Yes, Josh. Yes, of course. I hate cheese. There's a big difference between eating a delicious cheesesteak and finding a 1995 Mitchell and Ness All-Star Game jersey or jacket from Phoenix, Arizona.
Wait until I get the shorts.
I can't bring myself to understand how anyone could find an attachment to that.
How good would a cheesesteak be if you ate it wearing this jacket?
What's that?
How good would a cheesesteak be if you ate it while you were wearing this jacket?
It would be amazing because I would purposely not use a plate and just spill everything all over it.
It's kind of made out of like vinyl or something. I think you'd be fine.
A true repellent, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, even the design on it, it's like it's so 90s.
It's perfect, right? Come on, man. You're not appreciating it enough.
Dude, I am wildly appreciative.
Here's a question for you. In 1995, you were 8
years old.
Okay. Would you have thought this jacket was cool then?
I'd still have, unless I was at that All-Star game.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure.
I don't see why I would want something like that.
Okay. Not like a big Barkley fan, and then he got to Phoenix, and you're like, oh, I'll get the jacket anyway. I love Charles Barkley. He's a Philadelphia guy.
Yeah, because he played an All-Star game in Phoenix. I love and appreciate that you love it. Like I love that. I'm serious. I do. And it makes for good conversation. But we're on different wavelengths here.
Yeah. I'm right and you're wrong.
You know what? I'll let you have it.
I feel good. I'm going to go warm up now. I'm going to go get my jumpers in. I'm going to be like Joel Embiid. I'll go take warm-ups in slippers.
And the thought that jacket is like wildly priced above where it should be.
I think that it's the second most expensive jacket that I own.
Oh, God, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that, Josh. Don't tell me that.
To be fair, I wear a jacket like 5 times a year. Not a lot of jacket weather down here.
Would you wear that jacket out to a date? Not with your wife.
Oh my, dude, I wore the Justin Timberlake shirt that I was talking about to the first time I ever went to my wife's house.
I don't know the Timberlake shirt. I'll take your word for it.
Last thing, it's next to me. Let me grab it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hold it up. I'm not gonna wear it.
I think I think the Justin Timberlake shirt could not be close to as bad as the jacket.
Hold on.
I'd love to know. Are you guys with Josh on this? I mean, I'd love to hear that those who are. I would love to know. But did you find it?
Oh man, you are in for a rude awakening here. You ready?
No, well, no. See, that's great. That I like.
I agree. It's great. They're equally great, but for different reasons.
It's funny. It's comedic. There's comedic value in it.
I feel really bad for the people that are listening to the audio version of this podcast in a couple hours.
Oh, I know. Listen. That is funny. For anyone wondering, it is a big Justin Timberlake head that says "In Sync" under it, and the jacket that Josh is wearing would hurt. Oh, I can't make that joke. I can't make that. It would hurt the eyes of anybody. Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell you later. That shirt is funny, and when you wear it, people say, that's funny. I get it."
I mean, it was an in to speak to anyone at any bar that I went to for all of college.
Problem with the jacket is that you're not wearing it to be funny. You're not wearing it because it gives a good laugh, right?
No, I love this jacket.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Well, to be fair, I do also love that Justin Timberlake shirt, but they are achieving different goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this went well.
MLB Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. Give a shout out to Yahoo Sports for sponsoring this show. Greatly appreciate it. We went through 15 games today. I wish we had more time, but we're already at 2 hours considering we spent the last 10 minutes looking at my jacket, which I'm sure everybody was clamoring for. One last time, I'm going to drop the Yahoo link into chat. If you're looking to sign up at Yahoo, please use the link that is in chat right now. Very helpful for us. We love Yahoo, and we're very thankful that they sponsor the show. X Cossack says, no girl over 6 will like you wearing that. Again, I wore that to my wife's house the first day I ever walked through her front door. Yeah, first time we hung out. Not only that, we were going to watch a movie, and I took the movie He's Just Not That Into You. Still got her. I'm a charming man with average-ish facial features. Laffy, anything else?
No, that'll do it. By the way, you were never mind. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here, so okay. That'll do it.
Yeah. Adam will have the deep dive in the early afternoon. Deeper dive 4:45 today. I'm gonna need the whole one to get through this, I would imagine. Then live before lock tonight, 6 to 7, myself and Chris Spags. But that's not all. It's not just baseball around here. We'll have basketball tonight, and we've got at 2:30 Ben Rasa, Tim Frank talking Wells Fargo Championship PGA content. So check that out at 2:30 live on the Awesemo.com YouTube channel. That's it. Let's get out of here. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you later.